Good evening again. The meeting of the Rent Control. Anyone wishing to address the board on a specific item on tonight's agenda should have contacted our board secretary prior to the meeting. But if you would like to make a public comment, feel free to request to do so in the chat function in Blue Jeans. And we will recognize the speakers and arrange to have them speak when it is their turn in the queue. Would the general counsel please report on the closed session? If there's anything reportable?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. The board met in closed session on November 1st and November 11th and adjourned at 7 p.m. tonight and at approximately 6:45 on November 1st with no reportable action taken on either date. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the board's last meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Secretary Ho, can we take a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner DeRosas.
Yes, here.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips. I'm sorry, Commissioner Phillips. Is Commissioner Phillips, has she left after the closed session?
No, she's
she
on
was
the.
here.
Do we have Commissioner Phillips?
She's on the list of presenters. She's logged in.
Maybe she stepped away from her desk. Shall we move on and return to her at the end?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Vice Chair Durant.
Yes.
Chair Sultan.
Yes.
And Commissioner, I'm sorry. Yes, Commissioner Phillips.
I believe I have to abstain. This correct?
In the minutes of last month.
Because I wasn't, was I? Yeah.
I think
sorry.
even if you
if I
weren't
wasn't there, I have to abstain.
that's not true, right? General Counsel?
No, you're not required to abstain.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Excellent. Okay, special agenda items. Do we have any of those, Executive Director Condon?
Yes, I have a few things this evening. Good evening, Commissioners. As we've talked about before, eviction protections for non-payment of rent under California's COVID-19 Tenant Relief Act ended at the end of September. Significant protections still remain for tenants who are seeking rental relief assistance. As you've heard before, more than $7 billion in funds have been available through the state's COVID-19 rental relief program to help low and moderate income tenants cover unpaid rent and utilities, as well as future rent and utilities. As of this afternoon, the Housing is Key dashboard shows that 2,500 applications have been submitted for Santa Monica households. 1,289 households have been assisted, just including 230 in the last month, with average assistance of about $16,400 per household. And Santa Monica's tenants and landlords have received more than $21 million in this rental relief, including $4 million in just the last month. People interested in learning more about the program or to file an application can contact housingiskey.com or call 833-430-2122. Additionally, city staff members and volunteers with local organizations are available to assist tenants with these rental relief applications, and appointments can be made by calling 311, and assistance is available in multiple languages. Tenants and property owners in Santa Monica will get more information about eviction protections in the fall 2021 rent control newsletter that will arrive in their mailboxes the week after Thanksgiving. So everybody keep your eyes open for this newsletter as it's full of important information for tenants and landlords. In December, we're going to be holding 2 different seminars. The always popular Landlord-Tenant Forum that we co-host with the City Attorney's Office will be happening virtually on Tuesday, December 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. Like always, we'll be covering new regulations and ordinances and sharing important news for Santa Monica's rental housing community. Just 2 days later, on December 16th, we'll be virtually hosting our Maintenance of Rental Property Seminar from 9 to 11 a.m. This seminar will include a presentation by the city's Code Enforcement Division and an opportunity for the community to learn the basic standards for maintenance of residential rental properties. Anybody interested in signing up for either or both of the seminars, visit our website at santamonica.gov/rentcontrol or send an email to rentcontrol@santamonica.gov or give us a call at 310-458-8751. And now to something else that is difficult for me, but we're reaching the end of an era this evening with our wonderful hearings manager, Lynn Nalaboff, retiring. Every agency retirement is both a cause for celebration and for me, just a bit of sadness. Tomorrow we'll be saying thank you for a wonderful career to Lynn, who has played a vital and instrumental role in the agency's progression. Although Lynn has been the division manager for just 3 years, she's been associated with the agency for almost 30 and has played a significant role. After receiving her master's degree in public health and graduating from law school at UCLA, Lynn worked for the city attorney's office between 1981 and 85. Lynn joined our team first as a part-time as-needed hearing officer from 92 to 96, and then as a part-time as-needed staff attorney from 1998 to 2002. Lynn became a permanent agency employee in 2009 when she joined the staff as a hearing officer too. Throughout her career, Lynn has been the go-to person when it came to implementing a new petition process or handling a particularly complex or controversial case. Although I didn't verify this, I'm pretty certain Lynn handled the first tenant not in occupancy case and the first construction-related decrease petition. Yep, I thought Lynn would be the one that we would go to for that, and she's nodding. Lynn's intelligence, organizational skills, and extensive hearing officer experience, including 5 years assisting West Hollywood, ensured that she'd work out the issues and questions and blaze the trail for other hearing officers to follow. Each hearing division's manager before Lynn was very fortunate to have Lynn on their team, and they knew it. Fortunately for me, in late 2018, when then hearings manager Amy Regalado announced she'd be retiring, Lynn was interested in the manager position. Knowing Lynn to be a natural leader with all of the skills necessary to succeed at the position, I was certain she was the right person to assume the manager position and lead the team of hearing officers, investigators, and division support staff. And not surprisingly, she's done a phenomenal job. In a time of significant staffing changes in the division, there was no one better than Lynn to train new employees, coalesce the team, and guide the vital work of the division. On a personal note, I want to thank you, Lynn, for being such a wonderful and supportive person to work with. As a member of our management team, you've helped guide the work of the agency. You're a creative problem solver and an effective advocate for your position and people. And I always knew I could depend upon you not only to get things done, but that they would be done very well every time. I'm going to miss you, Lynn, and I wish you the best as you move on to the next exciting phase of your life. Undoubtedly, it will include more time to enjoy the many things you love, time with your family and 2 young grandsons, time for sculpting and painting and traveling, and probably weekly Jeopardy games at lunchtime. Thank you, Lynn, for sharing your many talents with us and the citizens of Santa Monica, and for playing such a significant and meaningful role in the agency. Knowing you've done your job as well as anyone possibly could, and with a great sense of accomplishment, you can relax now and enjoy the adventures in front of you. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Tracy. That was very kind and generous. Working for rent control for the hearings department has been by far the longest and most rewarding part of my career. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Even though I'm moving on, I'll be very interested in seeing what's going to be happening. And I know Tracy, MD, will be doing a great job as hearings manager, and she knows she can call me anytime. But I don't expect her to need to very much. And Tracy, you've been the most supportive person I could have imagined, both when I was a hearing officer and as manager. You've always supported the hearings department so well and so kindly and with such strength. So really appreciate all of that. So thank you.
You've had a great run, Lynn. We're going to miss you a lot. But as the hearings department does, they prepare well for the future. They think about succession. And as Lynn said, Tracy Maddie Daub, our former hearing officer 2, will become the new hearing officer manager. And Lynn has prepared her well for the position, I'm sure. But the other good thing about the hearings department is they're a tight bunch and they stay in touch. So I know that Tracy will have Lynn, resources from Lynn and others from the past as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and that's it for the announcements this evening.
Okay. This would be the public comment section. I don't believe we have any requests for public comment. Secretary Ho, is that accurate?
No general public comments tonight.
Okay. Moving on to public hearings. We have consideration of proposed amendments to Regulation 4038C.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this proposed amendment is just to clarify the nomenclature around compliance determinations. Currently, the language refers to these decisions as addendums. The charter actually calls them compliance determinations, and that's a more accurate term because they don't add or change anything in the original decision, and we want to eliminate any confusion that this may foster to give the impression that the compliance determination has any effect on the original decision. It doesn't change the appeals date, and it doesn't add anything to the original decision. So this would just be to clarify those things.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Foster.
Oh, I was just asking if there was any public comment or if we can go into discussion.
We don't
Naomi.
have any requests to speak, no.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I was just going to say I read the staff report. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. Looks like it's some cleanup language. I'm good to move to approve the recommendation. Or actually, sorry, this is our public hearing, so we can't make any changes yet, right?
Well, you can. You need to open the public hearing. Unfortunately, nobody's here to speak, so close the public hearing and then you can discuss it and adopt the regulation.
Okay, thanks. I wasn't sure if we had to wait till the next meeting. Thanks.
Okay. So we have to officially open the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
On amendments to Regulation 4038.
Second.
Now you can close it.
Okay, we're public comment.
I wasn't sure if there was a roll call. Okay. All those in favor, I guess we're all in favor, right? Aye, voice vote. Great.
There are no voice votes in blue jeans, but I don't remember having to do this in blue
No,
jeans.
you don't have to make
This
a motion.
isn't blue jeans.
Yes, it is. This is blue jeans.
Yes, it is. Okay, I moved to close the public, seeing no comments, I moved to close the public hearing. Anyone objecting?
Second.
Great, we're closed. I now move to adopt the amendments to Regulation 4038 as proposed in the staff report.
Second. Boom.
Can we
All
get
right, let's take a vote.
Great.
All right, Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Torosis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duran,
Yes.
and Chair Sultan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Moving on to administrative items. We have the final budget report, fiscal year 2020 through 2021. Yes, Executive Director Condon.
Yes. I don't know if you can hear it, but there seems to be a party bus outside here on Main Street outside.
Oh no.
I'm hearing the party bus, but okay. So this is an information item, doesn't require any board action this evening. The written report is quite detailed, so I'm just going to highlight a few points for you. Last year, the board adopted an operating expense budget of $5,287,000. There were no additional appropriations or modifications to the budget during the year. With projected revenue of approximately $5,252,000, the budget anticipated a small deficit of $34,600. Because the budget's an educated prediction of projected revenue and expenses, there are often variations in both actual revenue collected and expenditures that occur. Although, as you know, Ms. Noseworthy does a phenomenal job on both projections. Overall, for fiscal year 2021, the board collected $101,000 more in revenue than was originally projected. Although expenditures were approximately $48,000 more than anticipated, the increase in revenue eliminated the projected deficit and resulted in operating expense net revenue of $18,334 by the end of the year. The revenue summary on the second page of the report shows that the registration fee revenue was more than $40,000 more than anticipated. As in recent years, this was due to lapsed exemptions and fee waivers during the year and collection efforts on past due accounts that Mr. Mordezai and Ms. Diaz continued to pursue during the fiscal year. Interest earnings were also higher than anticipated by more than $52,000. This was the result of the Finance Department acting decisively to realize gains on investment sales when the public health emergency arose. Higher than expected administrative records fees made up for lower than expected filing fees and miscellaneous revenue. For a review of the expenditures, we can look at the agency budget sheet, which follows page 6 of the report. The first column shows the adopted budget. The blue column in the middle shows the actual expenditures and encumbrances at the end of the fiscal year. And the beige and white columns show the variations between projected and actual expenditures. As you see, overall expenditures exceeded expectations, as I said, by $48,000, or approximately 1% of the adopted budget. The written report explains the variations for a number of noteworthy items. Expenses in the salary and wages category that exceeded projected expenditures, primarily due to staffing changes, were offset in part by savings in the supplies and expenses and capital outlay categories. The additional revenue collected resulted in an elimination of the projected deficit and $18,000 to go into the agency's reserve fund. Once again, I want to thank a huge thank you to Lima for her diligent work in preparing and monitoring the agency's budget and keeping us fiscally aware and sound. So that completes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Looks like we have Commissioner Torosis.
I think Commissioner Foster had her hand up first. Go ahead.
Commissioner Foster, why don't you start us off?
No big deal. Say the same thing I usually say. I didn't see anything that alarmed me or that stood out as egregiously different from the projected budget, except in positive ways. So I know other city agencies and other elected officials are very jealous of the tight ship that you and your staff run. My fiscal responsibility is something millions of citizens in this country complain about, and it's something you guys just knock out of the park every single year. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Director Condon and to Ms. Noseworthy. Very much appreciate it, and really to everyone who's worked so hard. It would occur to me that some of this teleworking has had perhaps a positive on the budget in terms of mileage. I saw that was a 0. So that's great. I think my questions are going to be around the overtime. I would assume that given the pandemic, we needed to authorize overtime. It just seems like there's a higher percentage of overtime, and how do we mitigate that in the future would be my first question.
That overtime is, we always have a little bit that we anticipate based upon participation at community meetings and things like that. But the majority of this overtime is related to the database development.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody who's working on the database development also has their regular job that they've been doing. And it's required us to, people have put in unbelievable hours to get us to the finish line on the database. And once we have that in place, I think our overtime budget will return to where it's been in the past. But it's part of the capital improvement project that we're working on. That's really what it's related to.
Okay, thanks. That was helpful, and that makes a lot of sense. That was going to be my next question. I see we still have our capital outlay, specifically computer systems, in this budget. I assume that that's, oh no, we have system upgrades. I assume that that's for the database job, correct? The actual software purchase or part of the ongoing payment to the contractor?
Well, actually, that is not part of the operating expense budget. Those are the non-operating expenditures. But what you're looking at in that section of the budget, those were costs that were not directly related to the project, but we thought we might need some additional software or hardware or things, upgrading of servers and things. There were associated costs, but not the direct project costs. Not as many of those costs came in fiscal year 2021, but we will probably be expending money that we've allocated this fiscal year for those costs. So that's why there were some savings there.
And how long do you think do you anticipate it being until we can have some sort of demo of the system as it stands?
Well, we're coming to the finish line in terms of the development. It's taken longer than expected, which I think is pretty common in these situations. Certainly the other rent control jurisdictions that have been through this have found it's taken longer than they anticipated. Right now, we're targeting a go live date at the end of January. So we're working on data conversion pieces. The consultants are doing a test data conversion right now. We're finalizing all of the workflows that we have built over the course of the last 2.5 years. So our target right now is the end of January. And I'd be happy to, do a demonstration for any of you individually. It looks a lot like it's going to look, but it's going to be prettied up before we go live with it.
For sure.
But we're getting close. I feel much more confident now than I have because in part, we've added this person from ISD who moved or is working with us, and he's been a real assist to the project, and we're very happy to have him on our team.
What's his name?
His name's Adam Orland.
Adam, thank you, Adam. We don't know you, but thank you.
I mean,
I-
everybody who's been working on the project has done a great job. And it's
Sure,
really
sure.
been a core group of Lima and Dan and Jean and Hong and myself and Adam.
Thank you. And I appreciate it. I know this is, veering off a little from the budget, but I'm probably the only one who gets really excited about, technological efficiencies. But I think it would be helpful just for the public also when we're ready to go live to just know about what some of the at least public facing enhancements are going to be for them. Because I'm proud of all of the work that you all have done. And I know I know these projects are very, very hard. So thank you. And excited to start using the system.
I was just touting our apartment listing service today, separate and apart from our MAR system. Visit the Rent Control Board website.
People love the look up a rent feature. It's one of the most frequently accessed pages in the city's website, I think. So that's a big feature, yeah. And the document portal is another great thing. People can look at the documents related to any address back, I think, to 2005. So that's pretty significant to have all those documents available.
And our buyout tracker, also excellent. We have many excellent features on the Rent Control website.
So Commissioner Trosis, as you said, we will want to get information out to the public about this. And we did put in this year's budget the costs to cover, or the finances to cover an additional mailing to the public or to the tenants and owners to let them know about the system. So we will be doing that as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I don't have any other questions. Appreciate it. And I'm ready to make a motion if we need one.
Yeah, you don't need to.
You don't need one, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
Information. All right, so there are no. I'll thank Lynn. I'll thank Lima again.
I'm sorry?
I just said I wanted to thank Lima again, but that's fine. We can move on.
Oh, no. Thank you. That's a wonderful report that she's produced. Thank you so much. All right, looks like Steve or Commissioner Drawn, do you?
If we're on to the next item, I move that we adjourn.
Okay, sounds good. Let's take a roll call vote.
Second.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Trosis,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Phyllis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duran,
Yes.
and Chair Sultan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, great. So I guess we will see everybody December 9th, 2021, 7 p.m. via Blue Jeans teleconference for the next RCB meeting.
Thanks. And congratulations, Lynn. Really, really appreciate all your hard work.
Happy retirement.
Happy retirement.
Yes,
Last
very
meeting.
much happy retirement.
Hopefully we still see you. And Tracy, welcome. Just buckle up.
Thank
All right.
Good night,
you,
everybody.
Lynn.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.